I never expected to be fired in front of a 500M client, but my revenge changed everything. I will never forget the day everything fell apart. The air felt thick, heavy with tension. My heart raced like it was trying to escape my chest. I was ready. I stood in that conference room, palms sweaty, my breath hitching with every second. Executives lined the table, eyes sharp and critical. I could feel them sizing me up, judging every move I made. The client, a towering figure with ice-cold eyes, leaned back in his chair, a menacing grin on his face. Just moments before, I'd poured my heart into that presentation. Late nights, endless coffee, and countless revisions all for this moment. I glanced at my mentor, Lisa. Her encouraging smile seemed to fade as my confidence wavered. I couldn't shake the sense that something was off. Then it happened. The client's voice cut through the air like a knife. "You're wasting our time," he snapped, eyes narrowing. My stomach dropped. I swallowed hard, but words escaped me. Lisa's eyes widened, panicked. I could hear the whispers around the room, incredulous, startled. "I'm sorry?" I stammered, disbelief washing over me. "We've worked tirelessly enough." The client's voice boomed, sending chills down my spine. "You're fired." Just like that. My world shattered into a million pieces. I felt the heat of embarrassment creeping up my neck. The gasps of disbelief surrounded me. I could see the faces in the room, a mix of sympathy and satisfaction. My hands trembled as I packed my things. Did they really just witness my downfall? My pulse thundered in my ears. In the silence that followed, I caught Lisa's eyes again. They were wide, filled with dread. I could sense her embarrassment for me, her belief in me. She wanted to say something, but the words failed her. The weight of the moment was crushing. As I stormed out, my heart was racing. I could feel their stares boring into my back, judging, laughing, a mix of schadenfreude and pity. My mind spiraled. Was it really over? I pushed through the doors, the cool air a jarring reminder of the chaos I'd just left. But deep inside, a flicker of defiance ignited. They wouldn't have the last laugh. I could already feel it, this anger simmering beneath the surface. Revenge tasted sweet and dangerous. I may have lost the battle, but the war was just beginning. What would I do next? How far would I go to reclaim my dignity and unleash that fire within? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. The city pulsed with life around me, but I felt like a ghost, drifting aimlessly through a crowd that moved on, oblivious to my crumbling world. The weight of humiliation hung over me like a thick fog, drowning out the vibrant sounds of laughter and chatter. I could feel the rhythm of the city, but all I heard was the echo of that man's voice. "You're fired." It rang in my ears, a cruel taunt that twisted like a knife in my gut. With each step, I fought against the tide of despair threatening to pull me under. My pride was shattered, but somewhere beneath that chaos, a flicker of resolve burned within me. I could still make this right. I could turn my humiliation into something powerful. Yet, the path forward felt shrouded in uncertainty. I remembered Lisa, hovering on the precipice of compassion as they dismissed me. I needed to speak to her. She believed in me when I didn't believe in myself, and she was one of the few bright lights in my life. I hastily typed her number into my phone, each second stretching into a painful eternity as it rang. When she picked up, her voice was laced with concern. "Hey, I saw what happened. Are you okay?" "Not really," I admitted, swallowing hard against the lump in my throat. "I don't know what to do. You're stronger than this. You know that, right?" Lisa's voice was gentle, a soothing balm to my ravaged spirit. "Let's talk in person. Meet me at that cafe." I'll be there in 20. Her unwavering support filled me with a glimmer of hope, something I desperately needed. I made my way to the cafe, the familiar scent of coffee and pastries enveloping me as I stepped inside. The warmth felt welcoming, a stark contrast to the icy atmosphere I'd just escaped. As I found a table, my thoughts spiraled. The revenge I craved was intoxicating, but how would I make it meaningful? Just then, I caught a glimpse of Lisa coming through the door, her presence instantly grounding me. She made her way to my table, her brow furrowed with worry. "Hey. It's going to be all right," she said softly as she sat across from me. Her hands wrapped around her steaming cup, and she offered me a small, reassuring smile. "You're brilliant at what you do. They don't see it, but others will. Do you really think so?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. "Absolutely. You just need to find the right way to show it," she encouraged, her eyes sparkling with conviction. In that moment, I felt a bond reignite, a reminder that I wasn't alone. As we talked, she brought up a potential opportunity with a small firm looking for fresh talent. It was a chance, a glimmer of light. But beneath it all, the desire for revenge still simmered. When I left the cafe, my head swirled with possibilities. I felt stronger, anchored by Lisa's belief in me. Maybe I could bide my time, regain my footing, and strike back at my former employer in a way they wouldn't expect. The idea wrapped around me, and for the first time since the meeting, I felt a spark of excitement. But as I walked through the city streets, my phone buzzed with a message that jolted me back to reality. Opening it, my pulse quickened. "Want to make a deal? Meet me tomorrow. I have something that might interest you." It was from a number I didn't recognize. A squall of uncertainty flooded me. Was this a trap, or did someone see the potential for my vengeance? I felt the air grow heavier around me, thick with the weight of choice. My mind battled between caution and an urgent desire to reclaim my power. What was this mysterious offer? I hesitated, knowing the wrong move could lead to a deeper fall. But the thirst for retribution turned my resolve into reckless courage. I took a deep breath, ready to dive into the unknown, ready to see how far my fire could take me. Would it burn bright and illuminate my path, or consume me completely in its flames? The morning sun poured in through my window, illuminating the chaos of my small apartment. I sat on the edge of my bed, the message still lingering in my mind, a daring specter promising a chance for reclamation. Every fiber of my being was stretched thin, balancing between the trepidation of venturing into unknown territory and the undeniable pull of revenge that surged within me. As I prepared, I barely noticed the clothes I threw on, my mind racing with questions. Who was reaching out to me? Could they help me turn my downfall into something spectacular? What if this was a trap? Self-doubt nestled in the crevices of my psyche, but it was drowned out by the fervor ignited from Lisa's unwavering belief in my abilities. I couldn't let this opportunity slip away, not when it felt like the universe was nudging me forward. I arrived at the meeting point, an inconspicuous corner cafe nestled between towering skyscrapers, a place where dreams collided with ambition. As I stepped inside, the ambient sound of soft music and muted conversations enveloped me. My heart thudded in my chest, part anticipation, part anxiety. I scanned the room, searching for the owner of the enigmatic message. The figure caught my eye, a tall man with sharp features and a confident demeanor, his presence demanding attention even in a crowded space. As he approached, I couldn't shake the feeling that I'd seen him before, perhaps lurking in the shadows of my former workplace. His eyes flicked over me, assessing, almost predatory, and I felt a shiver run down my spine. "Glad you could make it," he said, casually sliding into the seat across from me. Cole. I hear you're looking for an opportunity to get back at your former employer. My breath hitched. The way he spoke made it sound like a game, but deep down, I could sense his sincerity. Or was it something darker? "You know about what happened?" "Of course. Word travels fast in this industry," he replied, a slight smirk tugging at his lips. "What I'm offering is a way to showcase your talent. A chance to create something that will make them regret underestimating you." "What's the catch?" I asked, my voice fierce with skepticism. "No catch. Just a partnership. With my resources and your vision, we could demolish their reputation, he said smoothly, leaning back as if this were all snake oil. Think of it as revenge through creativity. The tempest of emotion surged through me. The temptation to say yes was overwhelming. The idea of claiming my power through radical creation stoked the fire of hope dangling at my fingertips. But lurking beneath was an instinctive wariness. And why would you want to help me? What do you get out of it? Cole's expression shifted, turning serious. Let's just say I've had my own experiences with them. They don't realize who they're dealing with either. There was an unspoken connection, a shared animosity that flickered in his gaze, a real possibility of camaraderie born from pain. It mirrored my own anger, but could I fully trust him? Could I lean into this bold new partnership without losing myself? As we continued discussing vague plans that turned bold with every word, an unexpected wave of warmth swelled within me. Perhaps this was the ally I never knew I needed. The corners of my mouth lifted, and for the first time in a while, the phantom of hope solidified into something tangible. Still, the other half of me wondered if I was walking into a manipulative game. After some time, Cole leaned in closer. If you're in, we start right away, he declared, igniting the air between us with stakes lifted higher than I dared to imagine. A sudden rush of emotion overwhelmed me, fear and excitement mixing in a way that left me breathless. The gravity of my choice pressed down hard, coiling around my chest. My mind swirled with images of my former life, the contempt that drove me to this moment now mingling with the intoxicating prospect of revenge. I took a deep breath, hoping my voice wouldn't betray the clash of emotions within. Okay, I'm in. The words felt daring, thrilling, a rush of liberation and fiery determination. Just then, the cafe door swung open, the chime barely cutting through the bass drum of my heart. I turned to see a familiar face appear, Lisa. She looked dynamic, her smile an instant warmth, but confusion swiftly shadowed her features as she spotted me with Cole. Suddenly, the air thickened with an uneasy tension that surged between past loyalties and newfound alliances. As if anticipating the worst, my chest tightened. How would she react when she saw what I was getting myself into? The pulse of the cafe faded, and suddenly it felt like a world away. The moment hung in the air, charged with uncertainty as I battled against loyalty and ambition swirling dangerously above me. No turning back now. What had I just committed to? The path ahead was a blur, and somewhere deep down, a small voice whispered that maybe, just maybe, I was unearthing something extraordinary in the ashes of my burning past. What awaited me at the other end of this choice, I could only imagine. The cafe's hum dulled to a whisper as I locked eyes with Lisa, her shock evident, her eyes wide, mouth slightly agape. I felt a rush of warmth mixed with dread. The brightness of her smile faded, replaced by a puzzled frown. The world around us momentarily paused, and I could practically feel the weight of my decision hanging between us like an invisible barrier. Is everything okay? She asked, her voice a gentle probe, as she approached the table. Her gaze flicked to Cole, and I could sense the tension in her posture, the tightness of confusion morphing into concern. I didn't expect to see you here with him. Things have changed, Lisa, I replied, my voice steady but soft. I wanted to affirm the complexity of my choice, to reveal that the motives behind it fueled a fire I hadn't felt in years. Have they really? She interrupted, a hint of protectiveness lacing her words. Her loyalty was palpable, an anchor to a past I was wading through with ambivalence. This guy isn't someone you want to trust blindly. He's trouble. I shot a glance at Cole, who remained unnervingly composed, fingers steepled under his china calm amidst a brewing storm. You don't know anything about him. I know what he represents, she said, her voice firm yet threaded with emotion. This is a slippery slope, and I don't want to see you get hurt again. The intensity of Lisa's concern kindled an ember of guilt within me, stirring feelings I had buried since my fall from grace. I had always valued her insights and felt a pang of regret for standing at odds with her now. I appreciate your concern, truly, but I need to take a chance. I need to stand up for myself. Her expression softened, but I could tell she was still wrestling with my decision. What does revenge even bring you, really? It won't fill the void of what you lost. Those words echoed painfully, forcing me to confront the emotions I had tried to shove aside. Am I seeking vengeance for validation, or just revenge for revenge's sake? The swirling thoughts were overwhelming. My heart raced as anger battled against doubt, the two forces grappling for control in my mind. I don't know yet, I admitted, the vulnerability slipping out in a whisper. But I have to try. Lisa's brow furrowed, and she opened her mouth to voice something, perhaps a warning, or a plea to reconsider. Just then, Cole broke in smoothly. Maybe it's not just about revenge. Think of it as reclaiming your narrative. His words hung heavy in the air, laden with nuances I had yet to unpack. I felt torn, caught between the safety of familiarity tethered to Lisa and the provocative risk Cole represented. My loyalty to the woman beside me clashed against a burning desire to redefine my story, to shape it anew. Let's table the debate for later, I finally said, though I could sense the unresolved tension between us. Right now, I need to figure out what's next. Lisa's gaze dipped, her shoulders slumping slightly, as if accepting the gravity of my choice despite her reservations. Then promise me you'll be careful. I don't want to lose you in this fight. Promise, I said, and though I uttered the word, uncertainty wafted in and out of my chest. Would I really be able to navigate this treacherous territory unscathed? Cole leaned back, a satisfied gleam in his eyes as he watched the emotional clash unfold. What matters is that you're here now. Let's focus on the plan. As he began outlining strategies infused with both creativity and cunning, I felt my resolve solidify. In that moment, amidst the tension, there flickered a thread of hope for what lay ahead. However, it was accompanied by a nagging unease that trailed me like a shadow. With each idea Cole proposed, my heart teetered between exhilaration and fear, a paradox that fueled my next steps. Our conversation soon morphed into a whirlwind of Idasa fever dream where daring became the currency of my aspirations. I felt adrenaline pump through me. I was reawakening my artistry in ways I hadn't anticipated. Still, flashes of caution from Lisa permeated my thoughts, but then, just as I began to envision a future peppered with promise, my phone buzzed violently in my pocket, startling me back to reality. I fished it out, and my stomach plummeted as I glanced at the screen. It was a message from my former employer, a request for a meeting. Kath, it read, we need to talk about your next steps. It's urgent. The suddenness of it sent a chill through me. Just as I thought I was moving forward, my past was clawing its way back to ensnare me once again. Every plan I envisioned turned into an amorphous haze as I rifled through my thoughts. Was this a chance for reconciliation? Or another trap designed to keep me in chains? I need to take this, I said, feeling the grip of my phone tighten. Kath, Lisa began, her voice threaded with worry, but I cut her off. Just give me a minute. As I stepped away, the fluorescent lights of the cafe washed over me like an icy wave. My fingers trembled against the screen. In the brief silence, all I could hear was the cacophony of decision-making, grievance, resolution, and the promise of something extraordinary crushing beneath the weight of a familiar burden. The crossroads loomed before me. I could almost feel the dust of past mistakes settling thickly around my ankles, but beneath it, I sensed the turbulent undercurrent of possibility. What awaited me on the other side of this unexpected reunion? And more importantly, was I ready for whatever truths would spill forth? The cafe's warmth faded into a swirling tempest of anxiety as I stepped outside, the brisk air biting sharply at my skin. I glanced down at my phone again, the text message from my former employer glowing ominously in the dimness. Thoughts raced in my mind, a whirlwind of fear and defiance. Why now? Why just when I began to forge a new path? With each pulse of my heart, it felt as if something deep inside wrestled for dominance. The memories of my last days at that firm flooded back, the betrayal, the whispers behind closed doors, and the ominous weight of their judgment, all leaving scars I thought I'd buried beneath my newfound aspirations. I took a deep breath, savoring the cold air as if it could wash away the ghosts of my past. I needed to make a decision. Was this a chance to reconcile old wounds or an opportunity for retribution? The choice seemed deceptively simple, yet cloaked in layers of complexity. I glanced back through the glass at Lisa and Cole, still engaged in conversation. The ties of the past yanked painfully at my heart, but an ember of strength ignited in the depths of my being. With resolve, I tapped out a quick response. When and where? I hit send and felt a momentary rush as I made the choice to confront the remnants of my former life head-on. As I walked back inside, I found Lisa tapping her foot anxiously, her expression tense. What's going on? You look unsettled. It's my old boss. They want to meet, I said, trying to keep my voice steady, the words spilling out more bluntly than I intended. Lisa's eyes darkened. Are you sure it's a good idea? What if they're trying to pull you back in? A chill ran through me at the thought. Maybe it's my chance to clarify things, to let them know I won't be their pawn anymore, and if it's not that simple? She pressed, her voice laced with concern. You could be stepping into a lion's den. In that moment, a surge of faith in my own strength eclipsed my doubts. I can't keep running from my past, I said, finding conviction in my words. I need to face it and show them that they won't break me again. This is part of reclaiming my narrative. Just promise me you'll have a backup plan. You know how they operate. She studied me, and I could see the worry etched into her features, the deep lines of friendship and loyalty tracing her brow. I promise, I said, though inside, I felt the ground beneath me shift unsteadily. It seemed a dangerous promise, but one I was desperate to uphold. Okay. Then I'm in. I'll help however I can. Her support was like a lifeline, firm and unyielding, anchoring me amidst the uncertainty. I nodded, appreciating her fierce loyalty. For the first time in ages, I felt a flicker of hope warm my chest despite the darkness looming ahead. I could envision us strategizing, working together, her steady resolve boosting my own. Let's regroup later. I'll need your insights after the meeting. Bring your notepad. She smiled faintly, the atmosphere lightening for just a moment. Cole sat quietly, observing us with an inscrutable expression. I trust you'll handle this with finesse, he said, his voice smooth, but there was an undercurrent that made me wary. Just remember that emotions can be a double-edged sword. The gravity of his words settled uneasily in the pit of my stomach. As much as I wrestled with my past, I feared that confronting it would unleash a torrent of emotions I wasn't prepared to face. I swallowed hard. I will, I promised, though conviction wavered under the weight of hidden anxieties. We wrapped up the conversation, and the three of us parted ways, each step echoing like a countdown in my mind. The afternoon light dimmed as storm clouds rolled in, an ominous backdrop to the tumultuous whirlwind of emotions swirling within me. In the quiet of my apartment later that evening, I sat on the edge of my bed with my phone resting in my palm, the anticipated notification regarding the meeting hanging heavy. I could scarcely hear the clock ticking, time felt suspended, each second stretching into a quiet eternity. My mind replayed scenes from the old day, slaughter drowned out by shouts, ambition turned to ashes, dreams fulfilled only to spiral into nightmares. Just when the moment felt unbearable, a new message illuminated the screen. Tomorrow at 10 a.m. Don't be late. I stared at it, a lump forming in my throat. My thoughts erupted into a chaotic tangle. I was poised on a precipice. With one push, I could either leap toward my future or stumble back into the abyss. Unbeknownst to me, a chilling twist awaited. The next message sent my heart racing, the words slashing through my web of resolve. You won't need to worry. This is your last chance. A deep breath caught in my throat. Fear gripped me, a tight vice around my heart. What did they mean by last chance? And what lengths were they willing to go to keep me within their grasp? Suddenly, the world outside my window seemed darker, and an unsettling chill flooded my thoughts. The line between reclaiming my story and becoming ensnared in someone else's game was becoming increasingly blurred, and I was teetering upon that edge, unsure whether the leap would lead to liberation or destruction. The following morning, the sun refused to break through heavy clouds, its light swallowed by the impending storm. I felt a knot in my stomach as I hastily prepared for the meeting. Each glance in the mirror revealed a visage painted with determination, yet beneath that surface lay a chill of doubt. I dressed with care, hoping that the crispness of my outfit might imbue me with confidence. A structured blazer, a pair of tailored trousers, armor against the battlefield I was about to face. As I slipped on my shoes, the soft padding against the hardwood floor felt like muted footsteps leading me to an uncertain fate. The streets outside buzzed with life, but I felt curiously detached, floating above it all as I made my way to the meeting. Every footfall echoed my anxiety, rhythmic thumps compounding my uncertainty. What awaited me within the steel and glass walls of that corporate world, the very space I had been so eager to leave behind? I arrived early, pacing outside the towering building, rehearsing my lines like an actress preparing for a pivotal scene. But the biting wind braided a tightening grief around my heart. I thought of Lisa, her worried face, and Cole's guarded words. In their support, I found continuing strength. But as I waited, my mind replayed moments of betrayal, each replay causing tension to mount, gnawing away at my resolve. I stepped inside, warmth enveloping me, but the sensation felt foreign and laced with underlying anxiety. The receptionist, a young woman with an overly bright smile, directed me to the meeting room. As I walked through the hallway lined with glass doors and vibrant artwork, a sense of nostalgia washed over me, alongside an awareness of the underlying tension that had once permeated every corner of this place. At the designated room, I knocked tentatively before entering. The sight of familiar faces caused my heart to race. Jessica, my former mentor, sat at the long table, a facade of professionalism barely hiding a cold detachment. Beside her was Mark, the strategic planner whose jokes once made my days less dreary, the same man who had delivered the final cut of my employment with a smirk. "Glad you could make it," Jessica said, her smile thin, yet her eyes flickered with something that felt accusatory. "We have a lot to discuss," I nodded, positioning myself at the head of the table, facing them. The air felt charged, a mix of awkwardness and simmering tension. My heart thudded in my chest, but beneath it lay that ember of strength I had nurtured. As they delved into the purpose of the meeting, rushing strategies for a project I had once helped conceptualize, I felt more like a pawn in their game than ever. Their words droned on, filled with technical jargon and corporate speak that echoed like a dull drum in my ears. It was then that I sensed their underlying motive. The question wasn't about projection or business strategy, it was about bringing me back into the fold. "Your experience would greatly bolster our upcoming project," Mark ventured, his tone deceptively casual. "We could really use your insights." A ripple of indignation coursed through me. I balled my fists under the table, the anger I had buried long ago resurfacing like a double-edged sword. "My insights? You mean the ones you disregarded when you chose to fire me in front of a client?" Silence stretched taut, and the tension thickened the air. I could practically see the gears shifting in their minds, their disbelief morphing into defensive posturing. Jessica leaned forward ever so slightly, her professional mask slipping. "That was a regrettable situation, but we believed you would take it in stride. You know how the industry works, regrettable doesn't cut it, Jessica," I shot back, a sharpness threading my voice. It was humiliating and disloyal, the very things I believed this firm stood against. As I spoke, the truth of my experience spilled out, a veritable dam of suppressed emotion breaking. Every word igniting a fire deep within me, curling around my anger and transforming it into clarity. I stood up, heart racing, breath quickening. "Am not here to be reeled back into a toxic cycle. Am here to reclaim my story on my terms." Shock painted their expressions. Jessica's face morphed from bemusement to indignation as she slammed her palm down on the table. "You think it's that simple? You're talking about an entire career, the connections, the prestige. This is your chance to come back." "Not at the cost of my dignity," I replied, my voice steady despite the tumult inside. If I wanted that life, I wouldn't have left. Perhaps, I thought, as I turned to leave, I was indeed stepping across a precipice. But I was also moving away, tearing myself from the very fabric that had entrapped me for so long. Just as I pushed through the door, a shrill sound disrupted my moment of newfound freedom, my phone buzzing furiously in my pocket. An email, urgent and alarming, illuminated my screen. A company-wide memo that sent shockwaves through me as I read it. "Due to recent restructuring, all employees should prepare for immediate changes in their roles." Pulse racing, I glanced back at Jessica and Mark, anger and uncertainty culminating into deep concern. Could the threads of my past come back to haunt not just me, but others? The question loomed heavy in the air as the implications hit home with a sickening realization it wasn't just about my future, this could endanger their lives as well. And before fully stepping outside, I cast one last glance at the corner office where my dreams once unfolded. Fate, it seemed, had woven another intricate pattern, adding new layers to this unfolding story. How intricately connected our paths were become clearer and more dangerous, and I couldn't shake the sensation that this confrontation was just the beginning, a catalyst to something bigger, something I was destined to face. As I stepped away from the rigid walls of the conference room, my heart drummed a chaotic rhythm, a discordant band echoing my tumultuous emotions. Outside, the gray sky mirrored my confusion, casting a shadow over the bustle of the streets I had once embraced. I pulled my coat tighter around me, hoping to shield myself from the unpredictable storm inside. Confusion gnawed at my resolve as I made my way to a nearby cafe, its warm lights beckoning like a lighthouse through fog. I needed a moment to gather my thoughts, to process the gravity of what I had just walked away from. Just as I reached for the doorknob, my phone buzzed again, another email from the firm, this time addressing the restructuring more explicitly. My chest tightened as I scanned the message, revelations about layoffs and a wave of unexpected insecurity for those I had left behind. A wave of guilt washed over me, a tide threatening to pull me under. Inside the cafe, the scent of freshly brewed coffee mingled with the bittersweet essence of pastries, a stark contrast to the acidic tang of despair clouding my mind. I ordered a latte, watching the barista craft my drink with a dexterous touch. Her smile, bright and genuine, felt like a fleeting respite from the burdens I carried. As she passed me my change, I caught a glimmer of understanding in her brown eyes. Maybe she sensed the turbulence beneath my surface. Everything okay? She asked softly, her voice amid the clatter of cups and whispers bringing my racing thoughts to a gentle pause. Just navigating some changes, I replied, forcing a smile that barely reached my eyes. She nodded, her expression shifting to one of empathy. Sometimes a fresh start can carry its burdens. Remember, you're stronger than you think. I nodded in gratitude, the simple kindness a balm for my tattered spirit. I found a small corner table and sat, wrapping my hands around the warm cup. The heat seeped into my fingers, spreading a tentative comfort throughout my body. I took a deep breath and closed my eyes, focusing on the rhythm of my breath rather than the chaos swirling in my mind. Just then, my phone vibrated again. It was a message from Lisa. My stomach dropped as I read her text. I heard about the layoffs. Are you okay? Let's talk. Call me when you can. Anxiety threaded through my veins, stirring the guilt that had nestled just beneath the surface. I hired her hope the news of my return to a world I sought to escape wouldn't shatter her resolve. Finishing my drink, I stepped outside into the obscured daylight, determination swelling within my chest alongside a lingering sense of dread. My feet led me back to where Cole worked, not entirely knowing what I expected from him but longing for the familiarity of a shared struggle. As I approached the office building, I noticed police tape around the entrance. My heart sank. A crowd had gathered, murmurs clouding the air with uncertainty. My instinct screamed that something was wrong. I caught sight of a small commotion, a woman in distress clutching a phone, her eyes darting in panic. I hurried to her side, my heart racing. What happened? She looked at me, fear etched across her features. There's been an incident. They're saying it's not safe. I don't know what's going on. The implications hung heavy in the air, the specter of worry settling deeper into my gut. All the while, I thought of Cole, wondered if he was inside, shielded from whatever storm loomed ahead. My fingers trembled as I dialed his number, the ringing echoing my anxious thoughts. Please pick up, please, I whispered to the void, my heart racing with every unanswered sound. Finally, his voice broke through, somehow filled with both relief and apprehension. Sarah? What's going on? Are you okay? I'm fine, but there's something happening. I'm outside the building, and there's police tape everywhere. Are you safe? My words spilled out, a torrent driven by worry and urgency. I am on my way out. Just stay put, okay? The resolve in his voice quelled some of my fear, but it was apparent he knew more than he was saying. Minutes later, Cole emerged from the building, his brow furrowed, a shadow of concern painting his features. As he approached, I could see the weight of the situation etched deep into his skin. We have to get out of here, he said tersely, glancing at the gathering crowd. Is it as bad as it looks? I asked, frantic, desperate for clarity. It's complicated. But we need to be safe, he replied, trying to rein in his emotions. As we turned to leave, a loud crash ignited the air around us, sirens blaring in the distance. The crowd began to push back, panic rippling through. Adrenaline surged as we instinctively grasped each other's hands, weaving a tether through the chaos. In the distance, I noticed figures emerging from behind the building, faces I recognized but didn't trust. The sense of impending doom gripped me as I realized it was not just my past that was swirling deeper into chaos, it was the entire fabric of lives we once held dear. With the tension thickening, I could feel our paths colliding in a way I had never anticipated. I turned to Cole, searching his eyes for answers and, perhaps, hope. What had once seemed a personal battle now loomed larger than I had ever imagined, a disruptive force that churned within my life like a storm ready to unleash its fury, and in the depths of my heart, I sensed we were only at the cusp of a much grimmer revelation, one that could bind our fates tighter or unravel everything we once knew. A silence settled between us, thick and oppressive, as the sirens blared ever closer. The world around us seemed to blur, the cacophony of the crowd fading into a distant murmur as I tried to grasp the magnitude of the moment. Each heartbeat echoed in my ears, chasing away any rational thought. The figures behind the building, once vague shadows, grew sharper, clearer. Their expressions were grave, their intentions veiled in uncertainty. "Cole, we need," I started, but he tightened his grip on my hand, pulling me toward the street alley beside the building where chaos rippled like a gathering wave. I didn't know if I was running from something or towards the unknown, but all I knew was that wherever we were headed together, it felt like the threads of our past were fraying with each step. The cool air kissed my skin as we ducked into the narrow alley, the cacophony of concern and confusion fading slightly as we reached a corner. Cole stepped close, intent on shielding me, but his gaze held a darkness that unsettled me. Whatever happened inside those walls had rattled him more than he let on. "What happened?" I asked, the tremor in my voice betraying my brave front. "You said it was complicated, but I need to know." He hesitated, weighing his words carefully. "There was a meeting with some investors today. Things didn't go as planned. They decided to pull out," he said, frustration lacing his voice. "And then there was a confrontation with the higher-ups." "Confrontation? What do you mean?" My heart dropped. Was this connected to the layoffs? My thoughts raced, painting worst-case scenarios across my mind. Let's just say there are tensions, and not everyone is handling it well, especially in a time like this," Cole muttered, his jaw tightening. A sinking feeling settled in my gut. "Are you safe? Was anyone hurt?" "I don't know yet. I couldn't let you inside while things escalated," he confessed, and his eyes held an unspoken fear. "There are rumors of more layoffs. They could target more people." A chill ran through me, tightening around my heart. The fear and guilt I had struggled against earlier surged back, even more overwhelming now that I realized the far-reaching implications. I thought of Lisa and all the others who had become a part of a life I had fought desperately to escape. But they were tangled in this web with me, and it was a damning reality that gnawed at my conscience. Just then, my phone buzzed insistently in my pocket, pulling me from the spiral of worry. I fished it out, fingers trembling slightly as I glanced at the screen. It was an email, a response from my firm detailing necessary changes to optimize performance. In that moment, I realized I was not alone. The effects of my decisions echoed far beyond my individual path, and I wasn't sure if I could bear the weight of it all. "Sarah?" Cole's voice cut through my turmoil, his eyes searching mine for reassurance that felt increasingly elusive. "I need to call Lisa," I breathed, torn between connecting to my past and the urgency of the present. "She deserves to know. If their jobs are at stake, she has the right to prepare, to fight." "Okay, but let's find a safer place first," he urged, glancing back toward the entrance of the office as if expecting someone to burst out. His protectiveness forged an invisible wall around us, and for the first time since I had stormed out of that conference room, I felt clarity with him by my side. We carefully retraced our steps to the busy street, Cole watching every passerby with a keen eye. Each face that shuffled by seemed marked with shadows of their own hues of fear, doubt, anxiety. It was as if the city itself breathed heavy with uncertainty, something palpable in the air urging us to move quickly yet cautiously. "Can we go to my place?" I suggested softly, suddenly craving the familiarity and security of home, however fleeting it may seem. "We can talk there." "Yeah, of course," he agreed, but the concern etched in his brow didn't ease. He glanced backward one last time, and in that moment, I caught a glimpse of something behind his casual demeanor. Battle raging within him, a worry that churned like the storm clouds overhead. As we made our way to my apartment, the clouds thickened above us, tenebrous shadows shifting ominously against the backdrop of the setting sun. The weight of my unresolved fears pressed down hard on my chest, threatening to drown out any flicker of hope or determination I had just nurtured. When we finally reached my place, I swung open the door, and the familiar scent of home enveloped me. But even in the comfort of my four walls, a tension lingered. I set my purse down, my fingers brushing against the fabric of the past. Memories pooled, urgent and vivid, flooding my mind with moments both joyous and painful. My phone buzzed again, and I felt a surge of adrenaline rush through me. I turned it over to find a text from Lisa. "I'm at the coffee shop. Can we talk?" "It's important, Cole," I gasped, heart pounding, my stomach twisting. "Lisa needs me. What if she's heard something?" My instincts flared. I didn't want to draw her into the chaos that hung like an ominous shadow over our lives. He stepped closer, inching into my personal space, grounding me. "We'll figure it out together, okay? Just let's not think about it right now. We have to address what's unfolding first." I nodded, the turmoil simmering beneath my skin, just as my phone buzzed again, a new notification, this time a call. The screen illuminated with an unfamiliar number. "Hello?" I answered hesitantly, dread mingling with hope. "Is this Sarah?" Came a voice on the other end, sharper than I anticipated. An icy chill raced through me. "Yes, who is this?" I inquired, unease creeping into my thoughts. "Everything you've been involved in is about to change drastically. You need to hear this, and you need to hear it now." The weight of those words hung heavy in the air, casting a dreadful shadow over the moment, and as I stood there, I realized too late that I had stepped into a storm far greater than I could have ever imagined, one that threatened not only my future but also the lives of all I held dear. And none of us would emerge unscathed. The voice on the line continued, its tone firm and unyielding. "You have to understand that the choices made in the next few hours will affect not just you but everyone involved in this mess. You've become a pawn in a game that's spiraling out of control." "What do you mean?" I pressed, my heart racing as the weight of uncertainty pressed deeper into my chest. I could sense Cole shifting beside me, his presence a tether to sanity amidst the swirling storm of panic. "Look, there are things at play you're completely unaware of," the voice continued, urgency lacing their words. "You need to meet. Can you trust me?" "Trust? Who are you?" I whispered, grappling for control in a narrative that had become a nightmare. I felt Cole's hand tighten around my wrist, discomfort etching his features as he listened intently. "That's not the point," the voice snapped. "When it all collapses, and it will, I'll wish you had taken a leap of faith. You don't want to be blindsided. I can set up a meeting within the hour, but you need to make your choice now." "They'll be watching." "What do you mean, they'll be watching?" I asked, fear creeping into my voice. "Who's watching?" "People who want to silence you before you uncover the truth. Do it, or risk losing everything you've fought for." My breath hitched. How could I trust this stranger? But the urgency in their voice stirred an unexpected spark of determination within me. "Okay, tell me where to go, I'll message you the details." "Bring Cole." "He'll want to hear this too," the voice instructed before abruptly hanging up. "What is it?" Cole asked, urgency lacing his question as I processed the call. I could tell he could see the shift in my demeanor. There had been a crack in the facade, and I felt the raw reality of the situation slipping deeper into my bones. "They want to meet. They say there are things we need to know about the layoffs." "About everything," I exclaimed, my voice barely above a whisper. The shadows that loomed over us seemed to deepen, thickening the air between us as Cole processed the implications. "There's no way this is safe," he cautioned, scrubbing his hands over his face in frustration. "What if it's a trap? You can't just run into the dark without knowing what's waiting on the other side." I met his gaze, my heart pounding with a mix of fear and resolve. "But what if it's our chance to understand everything? To be ready? We can't stand here, paralyzed. This is our chance to gain the upper hand." Cole sighed, running a hand through his hair as he weighed my words. "Okay, then let's be smart about this. Can you handle the meeting? Can you stay focused?" I nodded, steeling myself for the uncertainty ahead. Yes, but I need you with me. I can't do this alone. Alright, well, go together. Just promise me you'll be careful, he urged, squeezing my hand. A flicker of warmth surged between us, a glimmer of reassurance amidst the chaos. Before long, my phone buzzed again with the location and time for the meeting. The coffee shop was buzzing with the energy of afternoon patrons, yet within me brewed a tempest of anxiety. My mind swirled with the faces of Lisa, my colleagues, the stakes of our futures all tangled in this delicate web of uncertainty. We arrived, a wave of people flowing in and out, but I barely registered them. Focused on breathing steadily, I allowed Cole to lead me to a secluded corner table. Yet, the vibrant aroma of coffee couldn't stave off the brewing tension coiling in my gut. Do you see anyone? Cole scanned the room carefully, cautious as ever. His protective nature was both comforting and a reminder of how heavy this moment felt. Not yet. The message said they'd be here shortly, I murmured, fingers nervously tracing the edge of the table. Do you think we should have brought someone from work? Someone who could validate this. Like Lisa, it's too late now. He looked directly into my eyes, his expression intense. We can't involve anyone else until we know more. This might put them in danger too. Just as I was about to respond, a figure slid into the chair across from us, too sudden and too confident. A man cloaked in a tailored suit, his face partially hidden beneath the brim of a fedora. I'm glad you decided to come, he said, voice low and smooth, yet carrying an undercurrent of tension. Who are you? I demanded, leaning forward slightly, the air crackling with unease. Call me M. He let out a half-smile that didn't reach his eyes. And you're in deeper than you think. There are people who will do anything to keep you silent. The company's not just losing funds, they're losing power, and they'll sacrifice anyone to regain it. My breath caught in my throat. Everything was spiraling, and with each word, I felt power slip further from my grasp. Cole's expression mirrored my own shock, a cocktail of fear and determination. Why are you telling us this? He asked, suspicion threading through his voice. Because you deserve to know the stakes. I'm not your enemy, despite what you might think, and I have information that will help you navigate this minefield. But you have to be willing to play your part. What part? I pressed, heart pounding, fear and curiosity enveloping me like a fraying blanket. M leaned in, lowering his voice. You can either let the tide take you under or learn to swim against it. I can offer you that chance. But it requires trust, something you will have to find amidst the chaos. The stakes hung overhead, as heavy as storm clouds, and just as the sound of quiet raindrops began to patter against the window, a message from Lisa buzzed on my phone. Sarah, are you okay? We need to talk now. It's urgent. I looked up, realizing the gravity of where I stood. In this moment, choices loomed larger than life. Everything felt intertwined. A soul's liberation hinged on the fragile thread of revelation, and I wasn't sure if I was ready for the storm that followed. Things are changing fast, and they might change even more now, I whispered, looking between M and Cole, feeling the enormity of the moment swallow me whole. The choice remained, suspended in air. I could either sink or rise amidst the brewing tempests of our lives, yet each path laid bare countless uncertainties, and sometimes, it takes edging toward darkness to finally see the light. I was on the edge, teetering between worlds that clashed and collided like waves against a rocky shore, and I felt the tide pulling me deeper into a current I could barely comprehend. Ms. presence was unsettling, wrapping around me like a thick fog, blending secrets with shadows. There was danger looming, but within that danger also laid potential. I sensed change on the horizon, but was I ready to embrace it, to walk through the storm without losing myself? The cafe buzzed around us, but for me, the noise faded into a dull hum, drowning in the urgency of M's words. You can either sink or swim. That metaphor hung heavily in the air. I had been sinking for long enough, and the embers of my spirit were finally beginning to glow brighter. Here was an opportunity, but trust was a currency too costly, especially when navigating unseen perils. Okay, I said, finding strength in vulnerability, my voice steady though my heart raced. I'm listening. What do you need from us? Cole shifted beside me, still assessing M with quiet caution while gripping my hand tightly, a lifeline in the torrent of uncertainty. M's gaze bore into mine, as if searching for weakness. You've stirred a hornet's nest, he said, voice laced with gravity. Your former employer will go to great lengths to protect their interests. If they think you're a threat, they'll retaliate harshly. I can provide you information about their operations, how the layoffs plan to proceed, and who to watch for resistance. Fear quailed in my stomach. I thought about Lisa, my colleagues, those who still carried the weight of corporate loyalty while navigating this storm. And what's in it for you? I pressed, unable to quell the skepticism bubbling under the surface. Leaned back, the hint of a smirk playing on his lips. Stability. If they go down, I want to ensure I'm miles away from the fallout. You have a chance not to just escape the tide, but to redirect it. By baiting their next moves with a decoy, we could expose their weakness. Cole's expression darkened further, grappling with the implications. He leaned in closer to me, whispering, "This could be a dangerous game, Sarah. Are you sure you want to play?" The weight of his concern, the intensity of the choices ahead, sent a shiver down my spine. I don't want to play, Cole. I want to take control. This isn't just about revenge, it's about justice for everyone who's been affected. Nodded slowly, a glimmer of respect in his eyes. Then the question is how far you're willing to go, and if you're ready to carry others with you. His voice dropped lower. Because this isn't just your battle anymore. As I tried to process what that meant, my phone buzzed again, an email notification that sent a fresh wave of anxiety racing through me. The subject line read, "Important company update." I flipped it open, heart pounding as I began to read aloud. Due to unforeseen circumstances, the upcoming project is on indefinite hold. Personnel are being reassigned as the board reassesses the direction of the company. A wave of anger rose within me. They were restructuring again. My colleagues were caught in the crossfire of a game neither they nor I planned to play. We have to warn them, I said, glancing desperately at Cole, my resolve firming. I can't stand by and watch while they become collateral damage. M's expression shifted. If you reveal what you know to them, they'll become targets. This is a tightrope walking between self-preservation and moral obligation. His intensity was a glaring reminder of the harsh realities that accompanied ambition. You'll have to choose where to align your loyalties. My decision was forming. A powerful surge of responsibility invigorated me. Then I'll carve out a path where they don't have to be collateral damage, I said, determination echoing from some deep part of me. I'll do what I must, but in a way that protects them. M studied me for a moment longer, and I felt an unspoken challenge pass between us. Cole's grip on my hand tightened, the warmth reassuring me of our shared ambition. All right, let's make a plan, I said, voice strengthened by newfound purpose. As we strategized in whispers, the weight of the decisions before me sharpened into clarity. Each word exchanged became fluid, a tableau of ideas woven into a tapestry of hope. With every plan laid down, the reality of what I was risking gave rise to something greater than mere revenge. It transformed into a resurgence of light, a chance to reclaim not only my narrative but that of the lives intertwined within it. But just as the atmosphere began to buzz with energy and determination, my phone rang again, and this time, the caller ID sent a chilling wave of dread cascading through me. It was Lisa. My heart dropped, an urgent reminder of the strings tying me back to my past life. Too, Lisa, I answered, voice tight, aware that the weight of our choices could soon spill into her world. Are you okay, Sarah? I need to talk. It's urgent, Lisa replied, panic twisting her tone. We're running out of time, they're targeting specific employees, and I think I might be on the list. It's serious. M's eyes narrowed as I felt coldness settle in the pit of my stomach. Where are you? I asked desperately, my mind racing as I glanced at Cole's worried face. I in the cafe near the office. Please, I need your help, Lisa's voice quavered, a sharp edge cutting through the air. We're on our way, I said, urgency mounting. We stood up quickly, glancing around as the atmosphere shifted and turned, the possibilities of the day unraveling in a completely different direction. I knew then that the fight was larger than I had ever anticipated. It was a fight for lives and livelihoods, a chance to alter the narrative that sought to restrain ambition and light. We stepped out into uncertainty, hands intertwined as we moved quickly towards the shelter of our futures. We glanced back at our past as we sprinted through the bustling street, Cole keeping me steady as panic buzzed beneath my skin. I felt the thrill of determination knit through my very essence, each stride pulling me closer to the truth I needed to confront. Arriving at the coffee shop, I scanned the familiar faces, pulse quickening as I spotted Lisa sitting at a corner table, fear etched across her features. A wave of relief swept over me as I dashed to her side, Cole close in tow. "Lisa, you're safe," I whispered, squeezing her arm tightly, trembling with the need to protect her. Her eyes widened, and she looked between Cole and me, waiting for answers. "What happened?" I questioned, my heart racing for her to divulge the urgency she implied. "They called a meeting. Some were called in this morning and I overheard something," she began, urgency pouring from her. "They mentioned the layoffs as a means to silence voices. I think you might be on that list." My breath caught in my throat. It felt like a punch to the gut, the realization that my past was scuttling to overtake my future. But before I could reply, broke in, sliding into the seat next to Lisa, his presence commanding attention. "There's no time to waste." His voice was sharp. "We need to discuss how to counteract their plans quickly before they act." Lisa looked at him incredulously. "And why should we listen to you?" I took a breath, curbing the urge to panic. "He can help us navigate through this storm," I assured her, determination rising within. "We have information, but we need to base our strategies on what we know." Wasted no time. "The board will shift focus to silencing anyone who challenges their authority. We need to create a decoy, something loud enough that it draws attention away from you." Lisa glanced at me, fear swirling in her gaze. "But what if it puts you in danger?" My heart twisted at the weight of her concern. "If we do nothing, we lose. I can't sit back while others suffer because of my decisions." The weight of those words clung to me, and suddenly, the stakes felt staggeringly high, not just for myself, but everyone involved. "There's safety in numbers," added, steely confidence emanating from him. "If you can rally them, you stand a better chance of being heard before they strike." My determination ignited within me. Lisa was right to be cautious, but the thought of sitting idly while the fate of so many hinged on my choices was incomprehensible. "We'll need to gather everyone we can," I said finally, voicing the resolve swelling in my chest. "Time is not on our side, but if we can rally together, we can turn this around." Cole placed his hand over mine, affirming my decision, his gaze serious but filled with determination. "I'm with you, let's do this." Lisa exhaled, the hint of a weak smile softening her fear. "Okay, let's move." Together, we laid out a plan, weaving strategies that intertwined our strengths, creating something that felt like a tapestry of resilience against the looming chaos. Every point we discussed led deeper into the foundation. We would build a structure to stand against a system determined to watch us fall. But even in our newfound fervor, the reality of approaching danger felt ever present. Ms. Presence loomed like a tempest at the fringes of our plan, and I questioned whether the curating of our destinies could withstand the force behind it. Stepping out of that coffee shop, the horizon darkened. A storm roiled overhead in a symphony of uncertainty. I wondered if there was a chance to weather the turbulence that lay ahead. In the face of the storm, together we can emerge stronger, I breathed, the certainty in my voice echoing against the gathering clouds. And as we embarked down that path fueled by conviction and resilience, I felt a shift buried deep within. We might embrace the chaos, or we might succumb to it, but within the storm lay the prospect of reclamation, of rising above the very ashes that had once threatened to consume me. Knowing that what shattered us creates space for transformation, I allowed myself a fleeting moment of truth amid the fog. Every dent in our armor forged from battles past fueled the integrity of our fight ahead. We were geared for the rise, united against the tide that sought to engulf us all. And as the thunder rumbled in the distance, I whispered a silent vow to stand for those I'd lost and for the destiny I hoped to claim. For in the end, it was not just our lives that hung in precarious balance. It was the very essence of what we fought for, the legacies we left behind, and the undeniable fire of hope that sparked even in the most shadowed hearts. Together, we would navigate the storm. Together, we would rise, fortified by the conviction of our actions, as we took the plunge into a battle that would redefine everything we knew. In that moment, clarity washed over me. There was power in this shared fight, and the promise of a new dawn awaited those brave enough to seize it. A truth that resonated in my heart as the rain began to fall, not as a storm but as a cleansing, a rebirth. And through it all, I realized the most profound shifts occur not with grand gestures but in the depths of raw, unfiltered courage, the love that ties us, the strength we find in each other, even amidst the tempest-born chaos we face together. And as I turned to my friends, ready to face what came next, the certainty echoed within me: we would not just survive, we would thrive.